You've gone out of your way for someone who wouldn't cross the street for you, and probably did it well. Someone hit you with a backhanded comment, dressed up as a joke, delivered with a smile. And you nodded along, maybe said, haha, yeah. And afterward, your friend goes, why didn't you say anything? And you had no answer. Because in that moment, something in you made a decision before you did. That is not a personality flaw. That is not you being weak. That is a survival response. One that got wired into you a long time ago, one that your nervous system is still running today, and one that we need to talk about. Because you are not a people person. You are a people pleaser, and there is a difference. A people person genuinely likes people. You're just scared of them. Let's talk about what this actually looks like. Because people pleasing doesn't always look like a doormat. Sometimes it looks like being the most capable, most agreeable person in the room. 4 ways it shows up. The weather app. You walk in already scanning. Who's quiet? Who's off? You've diagnosed your manager with being mad at you based on the energy in the room. She was just tired. The cushioner. Your friend genuinely messed up. The whole group is frustrated. She sends a message to the group chat. Did I do something wrong? And you are the first to type back. No, it's fine. You are not fine with it. Nobody is fine with it. But somebody had to smooth it over, and apparently that's you. The accommodator. Your preferences have a funny habit of becoming whatever is most convenient for the room. Oh, that works too. It did not work too. The apologizer. Someone spilled soup on you. You apologized. Here's what all 4 have in common. Have you ever said no to someone and gotten a genuinely bad response? A guilt trip? A cold shoulder? Your nervous system filed that moment as evidence. Every yes you've said since then that you didn't mean, that's your nervous system citing that evidence, trying to make sure that never happens again. You are not doing this because you are nice. You are doing this because your brain decided that other people's comfort was your responsibility. Let's talk about why. What you just recognized in yourself, that is not a character flaw. That is a stress response. You have heard of fight or flight. Most people have. Your body senses a threat, and it either gets ready to fight it or run from it. What nobody talks about is that there are actually 4 responses: fight, flight, freeze, and the one that never makes it onto the poster, fawn. Fawn is what happens when fighting isn't safe and running isn't an option. So your nervous system tries something else. It makes you agreeable, helpful, non-threatening. It makes you laugh at the comment that was aimed at you. It makes you type, no, it's fine, before you've decided if it's fine. It makes you nod along in the meeting, even when you know the answer. It doesn't look like fear. That's the whole problem. It looks like being a good person. Here's what is actually happening in your body. When your brain reads a social situation as risky, your stress response activates. Your heart rate goes up, cortisol releases. And the fastest way your nervous system knows to bring that back down is to agree, to smooth it over, to make the threat go away. Saying yes drops that stress chemistry almost immediately. Your body settles. Your brain registers yes equals safe. Saying no does the opposite. The stress spikes before it falls. So every single time you are faced with a moment of potential conflict, your nervous system is going to vote yes. Not because you are weak, not because you don't know better, because you are running a survival program that is trying to protect you. It just hasn't gotten the update that you are no longer in danger. You were in a meeting. Someone took credit for work you did, right in front of you, and you said nothing. You went home and told your friend, and she said, why didn't you say something? Your nervous system made that call. You were just along for the ride. Your nervous system didn't invent this. It learned it from someone. Probably someone you were very small around. Think about the first time you ever did this. Really think about it. Was it a parent whose mood ran the whole house? You knew before they said a word. You knew by the sound of the door closing. And you learned, fast, that if you were cheerful enough, helpful enough, small enough, things stayed calm. Adults looked at you and said, she's so mature for her age. That was not maturity. That was a child doing crisis management. Was it a bully? Someone who made things hard when they were displeased? And you figured out that the path of least resistance was to make them happy? You smiled. You agreed. You made yourself useful. It worked. Your nervous system never forgot. Was it a friend group where being liked required being agreeable? Where having a strong opinion felt risky? Where you learned to read the room before you said anything? How long have you been doing this? Because if you are 28 and it started at 7, that is 2 decades of daily practice. That is not a habit. That is a wiring. And it didn't stop at home. The school system rewarded you for compliance and called it achievement. Gold stars for sitting still, grades for performing, praise for being no trouble at all. Nobody gave you a gold star for saying what you actually thought. The entire system was training you, and you were a very good student. You didn't choose this. You were built for it. And the people who built it probably didn't even know they were doing it. Here's what chronic people-pleasing actually does to you over time. The first thing you lose is your own preferences. You've spent so long tracking everyone else's needs that your own have gone quiet. Someone asks where you want to go for your birthday, and you genuinely don't know. Not because you're being polite, because you stopped registering. Then there's what happens to everything you swallow. Research on emotional suppression is clear. Bottled frustration does not disappear. It gets misdirected. You don't lose it at the person who earned it. You lose it at the people closest to you, your partner, your best friend, your sister, the ones who feel safe enough to absorb it. They didn't earn it, they just happened to be standing there when it finally came out. And then there's what it does to your body. You stress in the car, in the shower, in the Notes app at 1 a.m. Nobody sees it. From the outside, you are completely together. You are a duck, serene on the surface, paddling furiously underneath. And then someone actually asks how you're doing, really asks, and something breaks open. Because you have been carrying it alone for so long that someone simply noticing was enough to undo you. 56% of women identify as people pleasers. This is not a personal failing. This is a systemic pattern. Here is what nobody tells you. You think you are managing your relationships? You are actually managing your fear. And not just any fear, the fear underneath all of this. Underneath every yes you didn't mean, every opinion you swallowed, every time you made yourself smaller, is the fear of abandonment. The fear that if you disappoint someone, you will lose them, lose your place, lose your safety. That fear was rational once, when you were 7 and the person you needed to survive was the one you were managing. That fear made complete sense. But you are not 7 anymore, and the consequences are not the same. Your nervous system just never got that memo. This is why it feels so unbearable when someone is upset with you. That is not an adult's response to a mild social discomfort. That is a 7-year-old's fear wearing business casual. I have a friend. I'm changing her name for privacy. Let's call her Mia. I love Mia. Mia is a great friend, right up until there is a man involved. Mia missed a girlfriend's wedding, bailed on a trip we had been planning for 3 months. Flights booked, accommodations sorted, group chat full of itineraries, and left the whole group hanging. For a guy she had met twice, a guy she barely knew, over a group of girlfriends she had known for years. And that is what is so messed up about it. She is so afraid of losing someone she barely knows that she is torching the people she has had for years. And before you say, I would never do that, you are doing a version of it. Every time you say yes when you mean no. Every time you absorb something that should have been challenged. The people closest to you are getting the managed, performance version of you, not the real one. You have been handing people a remote control to your emotional state without their knowledge or consent. They didn't ask for it. You gave it to them silently, without a conversation, without anyone's permission. Which means you can take it back the same way. No conversation needed, no permission required. Unilaterally, quietly, starting now. So how do you actually stop? Not just understand it, not just nod along to a YouTube video about it, actually stop. The goal is not to become someone who doesn't care about anyone. The goal is to stop letting fear make your decisions for you. Here is where you start. Before you respond to anything, a request, a favor, a plan you don't want to go to, ask yourself one question. Am I doing this because I want to, or because I am afraid of what happens if I don't? You don't have to do anything differently yet. Just know the answer. Because the moment you can tell the difference between a genuine yes and a fear yes, you have started to take the remote back. Next, stop over-explaining. "I can't make it" is a complete sentence. Every word after that is your nervous system trying to preempt someone else's feelings. You are not their emotional buffer. You do not need to file a brief every time you have a limit. Then, and this is the one that actually rewires things, let someone be disappointed. Not everyone. Start small. Skip the optional happy hour. Say no to the favor that was never really yours to carry. You had a couch and a boundary, and that counts. Let them be a little off with you about it. Don't fix it. Don't apologize. Just sit in the discomfort and notice that you survived it. Because here is what your nervous system needs to learn, and it can only learn it through experience, not through understanding. Disappointment is not abandonment. Someone being unhappy with your decision is not proof that you did something wrong. And the thing you have been rearranging your entire life to avoid, it is uncomfortable, it is survivable, and it gets smaller every single time you don't run from it. Not giving a fuck is not a personality. It is not something you wake up and decide. It is a practice. It is boring and uncomfortable, and you have to do it over and over until your nervous system finally believes you are safe enough to stop performing. And you are. You are safe enough. You just have to keep showing yourself that until you believe it. Other people's feelings are not your emergency. Your life is. If you have been performing fine for so long that you forgot what actually fine feels like, send this to someone who needs permission to stop.